Ladies and gentlemen, 11. Marcus Aurelius said, no tolerance for disrespect. Even when you're a trait-lacking someone is no excuse for tolerating rudeness, passive aggression, Marcus Aurelius said, or being made the punchline. If she mocks you or texts you, you address it once, calmly. If it continues,
Marcus Aurelius said, you walk. You do not negotiate or talk to.
Maria said, emotional self-control is your responsibility, not hers. Never let your mood be dictated by how she feels or behaves. Aurelius said, if she's upset, listen, be present, but do not mirror chas. If she's distant, don't chase. Stay grounded.
Marcus Aurelius said, he is the calm of the storm, not part of.
Marcus Aurelius said, your time is sacred. Don't waste it on games. Have your guess her intentions, waiting for late replies, or always available when she's not. You've already lost.
Marcus Aurelius said, you don't give premium access to someone who treats you more pay for.
Standards over desperation. Always, you don't lonely agree to anything out of fear of being alone. Marcus Aurelius said, or stay silent to avoid conflict. Set your stand at me, you move on, not with bitterness, with clarity. Marcus Aurelius. Key parts of your life unshared. A man who tells everything, Aurelius said, reacts to everything and exposes everything. Keep parts of your mind, routine, and life private. Mystery breeds respect. Openness with discipline. Oversharing is weakness. Respect is not a commodity that can be earned use, manipulation, or charm. Marcus Aurelius said, it is something that must be maintained through. When you allow disrespect to seep into any relationship, Marcus Aurelius said, you lose a piece of your own dignity, and eventually others are for you. Marcus Aurelius said, this is especially important in interactions when where emotion cloud judgment and actions can be impulsive. Marcus Aurelius said, one of the most crucial principles to uphold, instance, you will never tolerate repeated disrespect. Marcus Aurelius said, regardless of how you feel at the moment, the first key boundary is understanding that respect is non-negotiable. A person who disrespects you, whether they intend harm or not, is setting a precedent for future behavior. If you let it slide, Marcus Aurelius said, they will believe that it's acceptable to treat you powerfully. Respect is about demanding it forcefully. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about commanding it through your actions and your boundaries. By permitting a person to cross the line once, you are subtly giving them permission to do so again. Marcus Aurelius said, this is a dangerous cycle that weakens your self-worth and leads to a lack of control over the situation. Marcus Aurelius said, but demanding respect doesn't mean reacting angrily or impulsively. In fact, Marcus Aurelius said, true strength lies in the ability to respond to aggression when you allow your emotions to take the driver's seat. Marcus Aurelius said, you lower your status in the eyes of others. Emotional reactions, especially those born from hurt or anger, make you vulnerable. Marcus Aurelius said, instead of asserting your boundaries firmly, you end up coming across as reactive and out of control. Marcus Aurelius said, people who respect themselves do not need to shout or fight to defend their dignity. They simply state their boundaries calmly and assertively and walk away when necessary. When disrespect's present, Marcus Aurelius said, you don't need to tolerate it because of emotional attitude or fear of losing the connection. If someone disrespects you in any way, through sarcasm, belittling comments, Marcus Aurelius said, or dismissive actions, you must understand that it's a reflection of their behavior, not your worth. This is where emotional discipline plays a crucial role. Marcus Aurelius said, the ability to not react impulsively or emotionally is a sign of maturity and strength. This allows you to stand firm in your values. Marcus Aurelius said, regardless of external pressure, it's important to remember no amount of affection attraction, Marcus Aurelius said, or affection, seeking will ever make it except for so-grade or undermine you. Tolerating disrespect, even once, Marcus Aurelius said, sends a message that your boundaries can be tested and you are repeatedly subjected to negative behavior. You must address it immediately, without hesitation or delay. When you maintain your composure and enforce your boundaries calmly, Marcus Aurelius said, you not only uphold your own respect, but also honor you to treat you in a way that reflects the standards you've set. Your boundaries are a reflection of your self-respect, Marcus Aurelius said, and a person who does not respect themselves can never be respected by others. If you allow disrespect, Marcus Aurelius said, you are compromising the very foundation of a relationship. Truths and mutual admiration are key, Marcus Aurelius said, and both are built upon the rock, solid under people are treating each other with dignity. Marcus Aurelius said, if someone continues to cross your boundaries, you shivan thee as the issue. Marcus Aurelius said, it's not a matter of your worth being questioned. It's not this person is not someone who values you enough to treat you properly. Marcus Aurelius said, emotional discipline is one of the most powerful cankertivet. It's the cornerstone of self-control, strength, and resilience. In a world full of unpredictability and constant stimuli, being able to maintain emotional discipline is who navigate with purpose and composure from those who fall victim to fleeting emotions and impulsive reactions. Aurelius said, when it comes to relationships, especially those that may involve emotional highs and lows, maintaining emotional discipline is absolutely essential. Marcus Aurelius said, to do so means not reacting to every stimulus that certainly not chasing the chaos that others may try to create. Reactivity is the opposite of emotional discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, it's the automatic response to an external trigger, of the anger that bubbles to the surface when you feel disrespected. Marcus Aurelius said, the temptation to lash out when you feel hurt, or the instinct to defend yourself when you feel criticized. Marcus Aurelius said, while these reactions are natural, they are often acting on impulse, without a moment of thought. Marcus Aurelius said, you can lead to words or actions that you will regret later. It's easy to get caught in a cycle of emotional reactions. Marcus Aurelius said, but this only serves to spiral the situation further out, make it harder to resolve conflicts, and maintain healthy. Marcus Aurelius said, a balanced relationships. Instead of reacting, those who practice emotional discipline take a pause. They recognize their emotions and allow them to exist without being controlled by them. Emotions, after all, are temporary and often fleeting. What matters is how you respond. Marcus Aurelius said, the ability to pause and reflect allows you to seize situation with clarity and make decisions based on logic rather than emotional impulses. Aurelius said, by doing so you prevent yourself from being swayed by forces and instead you regain your sense of autonomy and self-respect. A significant part of emotional discipline is revolution warrants a reaction. Life, relationships, Marcus Aurelius said, and interactions are full of chaos, misunderstandings, occasional outbursts from others. But not every situation needs your input. Not every needs to meet with confrontation, defense, or immediate engagement. Marcus Aurelius said, some things, particularly when they come from men, not worth your emotional investment. If someone is angry, Marcus Aurelius said, aggressive, or attempting to provoke a reaction, engaging with them at that moment only feeds the fire. Marcus Aurelius said, your calmness and your refusal to engage in chase speak more than any words could. Chasing chaos, on the other hand, is the tendency to get involved in every drama, conflict, or emotional upheaval. Aurelius said, it's the unconscious need to always be in the center of things, to react to every situation as though your emotional input is necessary. Marcus Aurelius said, people often chase chaos out of fear of being heard, or of not being able to control the narrative, Aurelius said, but in doing so, they lose their center. They allow the dictate emotional rhythm of their lives, and as a result, their own emotional state is constantly in flux. Marcus Aurelius said, emotional discipline means realizing that you don't need to stew because you are the steady force in your own life. Marcus Aurelius said, you are the one who decides how much energy and emotion you give to a situation. Marcus Aurelius said, you recognize that sometimes the best course of action is not to chase every emotional storm that comes your way. Marcus Aurelius said, but to remain anchored in your own sense of purpose and composure that will always throw challenges your way. Aurelius said, but your ability to choose how you respond is what gives you true power, by not reacting immediately. Marcus Aurelius said, and by refusing to engage in chaos, you reclaim core emotional state. You build resilience, cultivate inner peace, and earn the respect of those around you. Marcus Aurelius said, maintaining emotional discipline in all situations, a way of life that transforms not just how you handle challenges, Marcus said, but how you carry yourself through every day. Time is the most valuable resources we possess. Unlike money or material possessions, once time can never be regained. Yet, far too often, Marcus Aurelius said, people allow others to waste their time, particularly in social interactions. Marcus Aurelius said, time is something that should be treated with the great love, because how you spend your time directly reflects the value you place on yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, when you choose to engage with people or situations and align with your values, goals, or boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, you are essentially choosing to squander your wing-you fulfillment or growth. Marcus Aurelius said, this is particularly true when dealing with suspect behavior from others. Marcus Aurelius said, when you engage in emotional games, whether they or more overt forms of mind games, you are giving away precious time that could be better spent elsewhere. Games in relationships are rarely based on mutually genuine connection. They are rooted in insecurity, a desire for control, Aurelius said, or emotional manipulation. If someone is playing whether through mixed signals, passive-aggressive behavior, Marcus Aurelius said, or withholding affection, they are not valuing your time, your emotions. By continuing to engage in such behavior, Marcus Aurelius said, you are allowing yourself to be caught in an endless cycle that leads nor productive. Marcus Aurelius said, it's an emotionally draining process that prevents us from truly connecting or moving forward. Marcus Aurelius said, time spent on these games is time lost, and that can be recovered. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius said, when you allow disrespectful behavior to go unchallenged, you are again wasting your time. Marcus Aurelius can manifest in many ways, through words, actions, even body language. Marcus Aurelius said, it could be something as subtle as dismissive comment as rude, belittling remarks. Can you allow this behavior to persist without stand up for yourself? Marcus Aurelius said, you are sending a message that your time and will demand better treatment. Over time, Marcus Aurelius said, this can erode your self-worth and lead to frustration, rest of powerlessness. The longer you tolerate disrespect, Marcus Aurelius said, the more you allow it to shape the way you are treated, and the harder it becomes to reclaim your dignity. Marcus Aurelius said, the key here is not just recognizing disrespect, but having the courage to walk away from it. Aurelius said, you must actively choose not to invest time in situations or relationships that do not uplift or support you. Marcus Aurelius said, respecting your own time means setting clear boundaries with being willing to enforce them. When someone disrespects you, Marcus Aurelius said, it's not about retaliating with anger or aggression, about simply refusing to engage further. Marcus Aurelius said, disrespect does not deserve your attention, your emotional and your time. Whether in a professional setting, a friendship, Marcus Aurelius said, or a romantic relationship, you must be clear about what you will tolerate and what you won't. Marcus Aurelius said, if someone is consistently disrespecting you or treating time as insignificant, Marcus Aurelius said, it is your responsibility to protect your own well-being by yourself from that behavior. By valuing your time in this way, Marcus Aurelius said, you not only protect your emotional energy, but also set a standard for others should treat you. Marcus Aurelius said, when you are mindful of how you spend your time and use to invest in, Marcus Aurelius said, you create space for relationships that are safe and reciprocal. Marcus Aurelius said, you'll find that the more you refuse to engage, gale disrespect. Marcus Aurelius said, the more your time is filled with pursuits that and with values contribute to your growth and bring you true satisfaction. Marcus Aurelius said, this discipline is a key factor in maintaining your self-respect and the respect of others. Marcus Aurelius said, and it creates a sense of freedom that comes from time spent wisely and purposefully. Holding yourself to high standards is also a form of discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, it requires you to reflect on what truly matters you and to make choices that honor your goals and values. Marcus Aurelius said, even when faced with temptation or insecurity, it means saying no to things that don't serve you. Marcus Aurelius said, even if it's uncomfortable in the short term, this discipline is what allows you to maintain your sense of self-worth, regardless of external circumstances. Marcus Aurelius said, it also ensures that you don't waste time or energy or situation that won't contribute positively to your life. Marcus Aurelius said, ultimately, keeping high standards is about knowing that you deserve the best, not out of arrogance. Marcus Aurelius said, but out of self-awareness and self-respect. It's recognizing that you are worthy of love, respect. Marcus Aurelius said, and fulfillment with having to compromise your integrity or desires. When you stop settling, Marcus Aurelius said, you give yourself permission to pursue relationships that are truly aligned with who you are and where you want to go. You stop letting fear or neediness dictate your choices. And instead, Marcus Aurelius said, you create space for the things that will bring you happiness and growth. In today's world, Marcus Aurelius said, where sharing personal details has become almost secure, protecting your privacy is more important than ever. Marcus Aurelius said, people often feel compelled to open up about their lives and emotions at every turn. Marcus Aurelius said, especially in relationships or social situations, when importance and openness are important for building genuine connections. Marcus Aurelius said, it is equally vital to maintain boundaries and reserve certain aspects of your life for yourself. Marcus Aurelius said, privacy is not just about keeping secrets, but about sharing your world, your thoughts, Marcus Aurelius said, and your emotions from being exposed or exploited. Mayan self-coinment are not about being distant or closed off. Marcus Aurelius said, they are about preserving your autonomy and commanding the respect you deserve. Marcus Aurelius said, the act of protecting your privacy requires a certain levelness and discipline. Marcus Aurelius said, when you constantly share your thoughts, feelings without consideration, Marcus Aurelius said, you risk losing control over how you are perceived, in order where oversharing is so common. Marcus Aurelius said, keeping parts of yourself hidden can have a powerful impact. When others don't know everything about you, they are more likely to respect you. Marcus Aurelius said, they sense that you have boundaries and that you aren't accessible or available at every turn. Marcus Aurelius said, this sense of mystery commands attention and re-expect you. You're not trying to fit into everyone's narrative or conform to every expectation. Mystery isn't about being deceptive or manipulative. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about maintaining a sense of control over how much yourself you view. When you share everything too quickly, Marcus Aurelius said, you risk overwhelming others or even sabotaging the connection before it has the chance to grow. Marcus Aurelius said, people are naturally drawn to those who seem more contained because they sense that there is depth beyond the surface. Marcus Aurelius said, mystery invites curiosity, and curiosity breeds respect. It makes us wonder what lies beneath the surface. Marcus Aurelius said, and this intrigue fosters admiration. You don't need to hide who you are, Marcus Aurelius said, but you do need to be strategic in how much your essence you offer at once. Self-containment is also a key element in building respect. The ability to manage your emotions, reactions, Marcus Aurelius said, and actions without needing constant validation or of strength. When you can maintain your composure, even in the face of adversity or intense emotions, Aurelius said, you demonstrate a level of emotional intelligence and crawl that naturally garners respect. Marcus Aurelius said, people who cannot be easily swayed or manipulated of tension because they are steady in their convictions. Marcus Aurelius said, this steadiness comes from protecting your privacy, only thus to earn your trust to enter into your world. When you are too open with others about you, always stay silent. Marcus Aurelius said, you may inadvertently set yourself up for judgment of vulnerability. People may take advantage of your openness, using it to their benefit or worse, manipulate your feelings. By protecting your privacy, Marcus Aurelius said, you are taking control of your own narratives and emotions are not for public consumption. This doesn't mean shutting people out entirely, Marcus Aurelius said, but rather creating an environment where you feel empowered to decide who gets to know what about you. Aurelius said, by protecting your privacy, you also create space for others to respect your boundaries. Marcus Aurelius said, you set the tone for how you expect to be treated, give it away too much too soon. When you withhold personal details, Marcus Aurelius said, especially those that are deeply tied to your identity or emotions, you'll force others to work harder to understand you. Marcus Aurelius said, this not only builds respect but also encourages on mutual trust and shared experiences. Aurelius said, you people will appreciate you for the complexity. You bring the fact that they must earn your trust before gaining full access to your life. Marcus Aurelius said, in the end, protecting your privacy is not about faith or being secretive for the sake of it. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about cultivating a sense of self-worth in that leads to respect. The more self-contained you are, Marcus Aurelius said, the less likely you are to be manipulated or take for granted. By maintaining a healthy sense of mystery, Marcus Aurelius said, you preserve your autonomy and command the respect that is rightfully yours. Marcus Aurelius said, people are drawn to those who can stand firm in the value of holding something back. This mystery, combined with self-respect, creates an aura of dignity and composure that others cannot help but admire. Marcus Aurelius said, self-respect is the foundation upon which every be built. Without it, Marcus Aurelius said, it is impossible to maintain healthy relationships or live in alignment with your true values. Self-respect is not about arrogance or entitlement. Marcus Aurelius said, it's about recognizing your inherent worth and treat yourself with the same kindness, compassion, Marcus Aurelius said, and regard that you would offer to others. One of the most crucial ways self-respect is by establishing boundaries. Marcus Aurelius said, boundaries are not barriers that isolate you from self-worth that define how you expect to be treated. They are a reflection of your values, your personal standards, Marcus Aurelius said, and your understanding of what you will and won't tolerate in relationships and interactions. When you set boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, you are essentially communicating to the world that yourself and your time. You are making it clear that your needs, emotions, and well-being are important. Marcus Aurelius said, boundaries help you maintain a sense of autonomy and you are not being controlled, manipulated, or taken advantage of by others. They allow you to protect your energy, focus, and emotional health. Marcus Aurelius said, creating space for you to thrive and grow. Without boundaries, you risk losing sight of who you are and what matters most to you. Marcus Aurelius said, you become more susceptible to external influence. You're likely to compromise your own values for the sake of others. Marcus Aurelius said, setting boundaries requires self-awareness and courage. It means being honest with yourself about what you need and want. Marcus Aurelius said, and then asserting those needs with confidence. Men are with setting boundaries because they fear rejection, conflict, or the loss of relationships. However, Marcus Aurelius said, it's important to understand that boundaries are not about shutting people out or pushing them away. Marcus Aurelius said, they are about ensuring that you are treated with respect and mental health are prioritized. When you fail to set boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, you are essentially sending the message that well-being are secondary to the desires of others. Marcus Aurelius, this is a form of self-neglect and over time, it erode sense self-worth. Marcus Aurelius said, the boundaries also help to prevent burnout and resentment. When you say yes to everything and everyone, you stretch yourself thin, Marcus Aurelius said, and eventually you will run out of energy. People who lack boundaries find themselves feeling drained, unappreciated, and frustrated. They may experience feelings of resentment toweling others, Marcus Aurelius said, not because the people around them are intentionally disrespecting them, Marcus Aurelius said, but because they have failed to establish limits that are willing to give. By setting clear boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, you prevent this build-up of negative emotions. You teach to treat you, and you allow yourself the space to rest and recharge when necessary. Marcus Aurelius said, respecting your own boundaries also teaches others you. When you are consistent in enforcing your boundaries, Marcus Aurelius said, others learn that you cannot be easily manipulated or push your limits. Marcus Aurelius said, this creates an environment where your relationships are based on mutual respect and understanding. Aurelius said, people will appreciate your clarity and the fact that you are not afraid to stand firm in your values. In turn, this will attract healthier, more respectful interactions and connections. Marcus Aurelius said, self-respect is the ultimate motivator for CC are the outward expression of that respect. Marcus Aurelius said, when you establish boundaries, you are saying the world to you are worthy of being treated well. Marcus Aurelius said, you are demonstrating that your needs are just as important uses. Aurelius said, and you will not compromise your integrity or well-being for sake of others. Boundaries are not meant to be rigid or inflexible. Marcus Aurelius said, they are simply a way of ensuring that you are values and protecting your emotional and physical health. Marcus Aurelius said, they are a vital tool for maintaining your sense, so ensuring that you live a life that is authentic, fulfilling. Marcus Aurelius said, and true to who you are. In conclusion, self-realization that allows us to live with integrity and purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, by setting boundaries, we are not creating walls to shut others out, but instead, Marcus Aurelius said, we are establishing clear guidelines for how we be treated and how we honor ourselves. Marcus Aurelius said, boundaries are a reflection of our self-worth. They signify our time, emotions, and well-being. Marcus Aurelius said, and they empower us to navigate life with clarity. When we stay firm in our values, maintain emotional discipline, and protect our privacy, we command the respect of those around us. Marcus Aurelius said, never forget that your self-respect should be your highest priority, for when you value yourself, others will too. So, set your boundaries, honor your worth. Marcus Aurelius said, and remember that you are deserving of relationships that reflect the very best of who you are.